we start our debate today, this is a gentle reminder. Please mute your microphone when you are not presenting. Thank you. Welcome to Tan Sri Datuk Sri Panglima Dr. Abdul Rahman Arshad Challenge Trophy English Language Debate Competition 2022. The motion for today is Duchess, can you see the motion? Not yet. Okay. The motion for today is the House believes that the use of drones should be regulated. Acting as the government team for this debate is the team from Kubang Pasu district, with Ms. Nur Amira Shahira as the first speaker, Mr. Muhammad Amar Shahmi as the second speaker, and Ms. Tanya Prasanna Naidu as the third speaker. The reply speech will be done by Ms. Nur Amira Shahira. Acting as the opposition team is the team from KBB district, with Ms. Wafa Amni as the first speaker, Ms. Priya Vahini as the second speaker, Ms. Renita as the third speaker, and the reply speech will be delivered by Ms. Priya Vahini. There are three educators who will educate this competition. They are Ms. Munira binti Osman, Mr. Irfan Afif, and Madam Hazrin. Now, I would like to read out some of the rules for this debate. For the substantive speech, each debater is given 8 minutes to deliver his or her speech. The timekeeper will ring the bell once after the first minute to show that point of information or POI can be delivered. The timekeeper will then ring the bell once again at the end of the 7 minutes to show that the time for POI is over. At the end of the 8th minute, the bell will be rung twice to indicate that the time allocated is over. A maximum time of 3 minutes will be given to both teams to prepare for the reply speech. The timekeeper will ring the bell once to show the start of the preparation time, and the bell will be rung twice after 3 minutes to show that the time to prepare for the reply speech has ended. For reply speech, the timekeeper will ring the bell once at the 3rd minute to signal that the debater has 1 minute left. At the end of the 4th minute, the bell will be rung twice to signal the end of the debate. Now, we shall begin our debate today. To open the case from the government team, please welcome the first speaker of the government team, Ms. Nur Amira Shahira.
Hello, can you hear me? Okay. Assalamu alaikum and a very good day I bid to the respectable speakers, honorable educators, precise timekeepers, bright rival of the opposition team, trusted comrade of the government team, and last but not least, lovely members of the floor. Standing here today, I, Amira, as the Prime Minister, will be giving the definition of today's motion, as well as giving you one argument under the key phrase safety. Next, our second minister, Amar, will be giving his two arguments under the key phrase security and authenticity. Then, our third minister, Tanya, will be rebutting all the points given by the opposition. To finish it off, I will be the one giving the reply speech. Ladies and gentlemen, the motion of today's debate is this House believes that the use of drones should be regulated. We on the government strongly agree with this motion simply because we want to prevent the misuse of this technology. But before I explain any further, I would like to first give the definition of today's motion. Use meaning to do something with an object for a particular purpose. Should be meaning it's right or appropriate to do so. Drones is defined as a type of technologies that can fly mid-air through propellers and be equipped with additional accessories such as cameras and so on. And lastly, meaning of regulated is to control something by using laws or rules. So who use drones in our current society? Well, a lot of industry use drones because drones is a technology that have a lot of benefit. Drones is used for agriculture to water huge plants. Drones can also be used for surveillance, such for security. Drones can also be used for save and rescue to find people who are lost in the forest or in the sea. So the question is, because we know how good is the drones, how the drones technologies are, how are we going to avoid the misuse of drones? Drones can be a double-edged sword. used for good, then it is no problem. But used for bad can cause dangerous consequences for our community. That is why we on the government want to regulate the usage of drones so all of these complications can be minified. So how are we going to regulate it? We are going to regulate it by enforcing the law to punish the people who use the misconduct, who misuse the technology of drones for harm. We also are going to regulate it say by saying that people who want to use drones should apply for licensing so that we know that people who use drones are actual professionals. So, with a change of pace, I am going to speak about why we want to regulate the use of drones through our first point, safety. Imagine with drones, you can surveillance a huge area that you can't see. So you can take breathtaking photos of valleys and mountains. But this also means that people who have drones can stalk their neighbors through the eye of the drones. This is not simply just stalking your neighbors for fun, but it is much more than that. If drones are used widely, pedophiles can use drones to stalk children in daycare. Spies from other countries can stalk our country through drones. And
You're right.
another, yes.
Are you
Yes,
aware
sir.
in current status quo you need a license to be able to use a drone?
Can you repeat?
Are you aware that in current status quo you need a license to be able to use a drone?
Yeah, which means that even in the real life, the drones are regulated, which is related to our motion today. Well, another issue when it comes to safety is safety hazard. Safety hazard is also one thing that we should concern, and why we on the government want to regulate the usage of with the usage of drones. Drones are very advanced. They have huge propellers that can however, they have huge propellers that can easily harm the users if they are not experienced in handling a drone to the point of giving harm. For example, in America, a boy who was using a drone carelessly had fractured his skull because he bumped he bumped his head into a flying drone. That is why we on the because of that incident, because of that incident, that is one of the reasons why we on the government want to regulate it by licensing so that it would be safer to handle. If you regulate safety of this technology is also a worry. Hackers can easily hack drones for bad things, which is why we want to regulate the use of drones so that these type of cases can be minified, which means they can easily steal drones and change it to become a technology that can be a menace for a society. For example, a hacker who is also a terrorist can hack a drone, and they can change it to become something to attack people with. For example, they put guns, they put lasers, they basically change a beneficial technology to something that could be harmful. That is why we on the government want to regulate with the with the regulation, we can ensure that people who use drones are using it for the benefit of mankind, as well as relating to my argument to make sure that people who use drones are professionals, licensed, and well versed in the usage of drones so that this technology can be used safely and we can minify the causes of abusement of drones. That is why we or the government want to regulate the usage of drones. Next, it is also another issue that pops up is people nowadays are using drones for the harm of mankind. Like I said, for example, terrorism are now using drones for to attack school. For example, school shooters can now use drones if drones are there are accessible to everyone. That is why we want to regulate it so that these type of people cannot get their hand on this type of technology. So So that is why we on the government want to regulate the use of drones. We are not dismissing its benefit. In fact, because of the overwhelming benefits, we want to protect the technology of drones from getting into the wrong hands. With that, I will state the motion and our stand as government. This House believes that the use of drones should be regulated. We on the government strongly agree with this motion simply because we want to prevent the misuse of this technology. With that, thank you.
Thank you to the first speaker of the government team. Then to start the case from the opposition team, please welcome the first speaker of the opposition team, Ms. Wafa Amni.
Mr. Speaker, respected members of the government, not forgetting fellow opposition members, and last but not least, members of the House. We have heard the definition of topic presented by the government. As the opposition, we partially agree with their definition. First, let us look at the word drones. Drones is an advancement of technology that is used to capture high-definition images and recordings and is controlled by human or by a person. Then next could be defined as what would be the right thing to do, and regulated is to control something by using laws. Okay, next, moving on, Mr. Speaker and members of the House, before I specify the opposition's case stand, allow me to rebut the first argument put forth by the government. Earlier, the Prime Minister said that they want to avoid the misuse of drones by regulating the usage of drones. But shouldn't that be you are the ones that should regulate the drones? Next, they also said that to enforce the law to punish the people who do harm using drones. I want to ask you, what about the people who use good with the drones? The government is safeguarding their motion by saying that they wanted. When I asked POI about when my teammates asked POI. Ladies and gentlemen, by law, this means that law should apply in regulating drones. That is what the government is basically saying. And then I want to note here that the meaning of law is an official rules of a country. And what that is actually, as a whole country, you want to regulate the usage of drones, which means you are trying to regulate the whole usage of drones, right? Then they also want to control the usage of drones, which basically means that control means the power and ability to make someone or something do what you want, which basically means they are trying to be a tyranny or dictatorship with this, because they are trying to literally control the usage of drones. Next, I also want to clarify here that they should provide us with proper mechanism. She said to me about enforcing the laws, but she did not explain further. And that is why please clarify, please tell us the proper mechanism of regulating the drone. Well, I have rebutted the government's first point. Now let me proceed to the opposition's case stand. So what is the opposition stand? Mr. Speaker and members of the House, the opposition has its own case stand. We strongly disagree that the use of drones should be regulated because the repercussion of doing so is detrimental to our whole country in the long term. As the leader of the opposition, I will put forward our first argument, that is, provides progressiveness within various industries. The usage of drones should not be regulated because it is extremely important in the advancement of technology. This House must realize that drones is assisting us in the film industry. Film industry oftentimes use drone for displaying bird eye view. And in order to make a high quality film that is competitive in the region, in the whole world as a general, and to advance to make a high quality film that is competitive, drone is really a good tool in order to capture the scene. Ladies and gentlemen, I am not exaggerating here when we say that drones actually help the film industry. We can use drone for the betterment of the film industry, like literally. The government has totally misunderstood the motion in the sense that they did not provide us with any mechanism, any proper mechanism. And she also stated that she wants to control the usage of drones as a whole. Now, I wish to ask the government if they are willing to give up the technology that could actually bring advancements to the film industry. Are you willing to give that up? If they regulated the usage of the drones, just think about the consequences it would bring to our film industry. Yes, accept it?
But we don't want to control, or we don't want to give up the technology of drones. We just want to regulate it so that we know that the people who are using are someone who is professional, who is someone is very reliable. We don't want to give up on it.
Okay, that's what you're saying. I'm not saying this. You say you want to regulate the usage of drones, which means you are restricting the usage of drones itself in the film industry automatically. And it is that clear. If they regulated the usage of drones, just think about the consequences it would bring to our film industry as a whole itself. And this is incredibly important as it serves progressiveness within the film industry. Like the first speaker from the government even said that she is safeguarding the motion. That is why she's saying that to us. With the regulation of drones in our country, that basically means that the government is trying to give up the film industry. I said it once again. Are the government sure that you are going to do just that? It is more than obvious that the regulation of drones will actually bring more undesirable consequences than the arguments they are trying to provide to us. One such consequences, including the effect this regulation will further bring to our country's economy. For example, without drones, how are we going to capture the view or above observation, which is so significant to our film industry? I'm saying this because this is relating to our status quo that is currently happening in our country. With the restriction of drones, just imagine our whole economy will be heavily impacted. I repeat, heavily impacted. I will give you a very easy example on how it will impact our economy. Have you guys heard about the film Mat Kilau, which breaks the record of 7 million views in just one day? And you know the significant part? Mat Kilau actually used the film to actually use the drone to film the film. And that creates such a spectacular film that was worth our attention for today's debate. Yes, accept it.
We, the government team, we are not banning the usage of drone. We are regulating the usage of drone. I think you have misunderstood our argument. What is your opinion about that?
I say you are saying that you are regulating the usage of drone, but then again, regulated. Go back to the meaning. It means to control something by using laws. It's not necessary as a whole, but this will impact our economy even further. Next, ladies and gentlemen, the usage of drones on the military sector is also very significant. I will tell you why. Drones in military is an essential tool for our country's safety. It can protect our country by means of surveillance. As I stated earlier, drones is assisting our economy by providing assurance to the military sector. Imagine how important it is for the safety of our country. By saying that itself, by regulating the usage of drones, or the government is actually trying to control us, trying to affect the safety of our country. The government actually is not seeing the bigger picture, because military advancements is saying saving lives using drones, and this is not necessarily by means of violence. And up to 68% of users of drones in military sector for the betterment of our country in mind. So is the government can assure us the safety of people when they regulate the usage of drones? Please clarify. Before I take my seat, let me reaffirm the opposition's case stand that we believe, strongly and staunchly believe, that the use of drones should not be regulated, because the repercussion of doing so is detrimental to our country in the long term. The second opposition will further strengthen our stand by presenting two more convincing arguments. So members of the House, with that note, I rest my case. Thank you.
Thank you to the first speaker of the opposition. To continue our today, I would like to invite the second speaker of the government team, Mr. Muhammad Ammar Shahmi.
Ladies and gentlemen, technology is a double-edged sword. It can't be good if we use it wisely, and it can't be fatal when we use it wrongly. So, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a good day. I better respect the speaker, honorable adjudicators, precise timekeeper, the rival team, and my beloved government team, and last but not least, the members of the floor. Ladies and gentlemen, today at the August Hall, we will bring forth the issue this House believes that the use of drones should be regulated. We, the government team, agree with this statement simply because we want to prevent the misuse of this technology. So, my job today as the second speaker is giving out my rebuttals to the opposition party and giving out my arguments under the key phrase of security and also authenticity. Now, before I give out my arguments, I want to rebut everything that has been said by the opposition leader. First of all, she has stated that my prime minister was saying that we just want to regulate the drones and not want to banning it. And she said that, and she thinks that we want to ban the drones, but instead we, the government, perceive that we would just want to regulate the drones for the people who are more trustworthy. And other than that, we don't want to regulate it all yet towards the public because we don't want to see any bad effects that can occur, like the example that the Prime Minister gave, which is through the safety, like the accidents that happen that cause the kids' school to be injured. And she also stated about the military sector. Although it gives a lot of good benefits to the military sector, don't you see it also can affect to our country? It can those drones can help on spying on our country and also dox a lot of information. And it can become more harmful towards us if we use it for the military sector too. And you state about military sector, and military sector is the people who are more to higher up than the public. And that's why we, the government team, want to regulate it towards the people who are more important than the public because they are more reliable and they are more understanding towards the usage of drones. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to move on to my argument, which is under the key phrase of security. Relating to the argument that was given by my Prime Minister regarding about safety, drones also can affect with our security and also our privacy. This will make a lot of citizens becoming more insecure with their surroundings because of the irresponsible people who use drones. And that's why we, the government, want to regulate the roles of drones. For example, there are tons of cases regarding of stalking using drones that happen. And a news article has shown that over 1,500 cases have been reported regarding people being stalked by drones. Besides, the reason this stalking happened because of the irresponsible people who like to do pranks and also because they hold grudges against people. And that's why we, the government team, want to license the usage of drones because we don't want this kind of thing to happen. One example, HDFTV, which is a YouTube channel creator, use drones as a part of the content to prank other people. They use the drone on the highway. Yes, I accept your POI.
Don't you think the thing you mentioned just now, the breaching of privacy, is just isolated cases? Because drones actually brings more good than harm. It has far more benefit.
No, it's because the privacy thing that being used is by the public itself, and the cases have been recorded is because of the public who doesn't know how to use drones properly. Now, moving on. This kind of trend that they use on the highway, they disrupt the harmony in the neighborhood and also the streets. And like my Prime Minister said, it also causes a lot of trouble in our safety. And if you try to imagine, there will be a lot of accidents could happen if drones are flying everywhere around the streets and nearing the cars. And following by the example that I gave you about HDVTV, HDVTV was facing charges because of their antics, about $5,000 because of their antics for not using drones properly. And that's why you can see that with this burden of proof, drones should be regulated. Like my Prime Minister, it will affect people's safety, and also like I say, it will affect the privacy, and also it will disrupt the surroundings. Now I'm gonna move on to my second argument, which is under the key phrase of authenticity. In 2019, a 10-year-old child was harmed by a drone. when playing in the park. It was discovered that a parent who owned a drone unwillingly and unwisely let his child use it unprovised, which ended with the kid needing immediate medical assistance. And this shows most drones existing now that are regulated will most likely cause a lot of harm to the users. With the rise of drone technology, people can see the income from this device is a lot, which is infinite because the making of knockoff and cheap type of drone have exists. And if we try to imagine, if we regulate the drones to the public, a lot of people will use the drones and a lot of people will take advantage by creating a lot of knockoff drones. And mostly countries like China will make a lot of counterfeit drones, and it will cause a lot of problem. For example, like exploding drones, we cannot trust this kind of drone because although they sell for cheap prices, it can cause a lot of devastating effect to our health. For example, there are recorded cases of they using drones that are created unmanufacturedly, not from the country that created drones, and those drones cause a lot of impact towards the health. For example, the drones that are created that are authentic easily can be burned and easily can explode, and this also will cause a lot of damage to our health, and it also can cause a lot of death or a number of deaths. It's common knowledge that China creates a lot of cheap stuff that are not authentic nor of good quality, and China is the top most selling drones to the people of its country as well as people from abroad. And we can see that by China taking of the advantage, they can release a lot of this kind of drones, and it will affect the whole community and the whole world because of those bad design drones. Other countries like America and Russia also sell drones, but in this aspect, it can be more high quality. Yes, as ABI.
You're saying that China is selling drones, and then are you trying to do you want to stop the advancements of technology by regulating, by limiting the usage of drones, the selling of
We don't
drones?
want to stop the drone. We don't want to stop the advancement of drones. We just want a drone to be created properly, and that's why we want to regulate the usage of drones, so other countries could make drones that are better and not like the Chinese drone that can cause a lot of harm and towards our health. But in the aspect, it can be more high quality, but it does not change the fact that people who don't follow the law of drone using will harm those around. Back to the making of knockoff drones, the low quality services, equipment, and material used that make it so cheap, it can cause a lot of burden to us. For example, drones are high technical and use a lot of gadgets to use. For example, use a lot of carbon dioxide from the factories to manufacture this kind of drones. And if the China took advantage to create these drones on the factories, it can release a lot of gas emissions, which is bad because they only creating counterfeit drones. So before I end my argument, I will be restating the motion today. This house believes that the use of drones should be regulated, and we, the government, agree with the statement simply because we want to prevent the misuse of this technology. And with that, we want to propose. That's all. Thank you.
The debate will continue with a speech from second speaker of the opposition team. Please welcome Ms. Priya.
A very good day to Madam Speaker, honourable adjudicators, most accurate timekeepers, loyal members of the opposition team, worthy opponents of the government team, and last but not least, dearest members of the House. The motion before the House today is, this House believes that the use of drones should be regulated, but we as the opposition team wholeheartedly disagree with the motion, and we have come up with a premise, which is this House believes that the use of drones should not be regulated because the repercussions of doing so is detrimental to our country in the long term. I, as the second speaker from the opposition team, will be rebutting flimsy points given by the government team and also strengthen our case by providing two more contentions. before I move on to my contention, I would like to start off by rebutting the points that was given by the government team's second and also first speaker. The first speaker started off saying that drones are giving a lot of benefits in various industries and etc. I would like to ask a question to the government team. As a government, before coming into this debate, speaking about this motion, do you even know what is the status quo? How drones are being used in our daily life nowadays? Because according to opposition team, it seems like you are not aware of how drones are being used in our country or even in our community. First of all, they did not provide any mechanism. If they think that being licensed or giving them license to those who want to use drone is a mechanism, then you are absolutely wrong, my dear government team. Because according to current status quo, it's clearly stated that in our country, the drones have not regulated, and drones are only being provided to those who have license. Drones are not being used by random people who don't have license, and the license itself is given by the government team. So I don't really know where the government team is actually going. And please provide us with a proper mechanism and understand the definition of regulating, because regulating is literally shows the meaning where to control something by using law, which means you need to have a new law to implement on the usage of drones, whereas not supporting the current status quo as what that is our job, that is opposition team's job. Licenses are already being given to people, those who are using drones. People are not simply taking it and using it. And also, the government team have been confused the definition between regulating or also getting a license. I hope the third speaker can also clarify that in their speech about their mechanism and also what they mean by regulate, how they want to implement it, how is it going to like provide so much of harm, because we completely believe that it has so much of advantages in the long term. And also the second speaker from the government team was saying that they want to regulate. He was keeping on saying that they want to give license to those who are using drone. My dear government team, if you are really fond of giving license to those who are using drone, it is already happening right now. So you are literally supporting the opposition team. And also they talk about privacy settings. People will take advantage once again. Drones are only being used those who are having the license. Yes.
PI. So how about the knockoff drone that being sold by other people from Lazada and Shopee? They can use it without license, and with the government will know they bought the drones from online from different countries because it's a knockoff type of drones and not the one specifically for using with license. That's why we want to regulate it.
Government team, are you saying that you are simply irresponsible to not know what is actually happening in your own country? Because you are saying that they are selling knockoff drones and all those stuff. Whereas also the motion is about the use of drones. People are not going to simply buy that. Even if they buy that, you are not taking any initiative about your own country and your own people. So really it's your own fault, my dear government team. Moving on, I would like to strengthen our case with two more contentions rejected. We believe that the use of drones should not be regulated because it lessens the gap between developed countries. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to realize that our country is a developing country. Our country is trying to move towards the goal that has been set by the United Nations. The usage of drones are widely used in many developed countries such as Japan and the USA. These countries have not regulated the usage of drones, and that is why they are developed in various industries, as what the first speaker from the opposition team has already said. Regulating drone in our country is going to make our economy and also probably going to decrease our development towards a better future. Think about our future generation. Think about our country's future. We say that regulating the use of drones is only going to cause more. We say that regulating the use of drones is going to contribute to a large part in being able to help in global positioning systems, safety, and well-being of our community. Whereas the government team is only trying so hard to safeguard the motion, where only they stick to two aspects, where it was mainly about security and also safety. What about other outer effects? And they did not provide any substantial proof or even proper explanation on that. They did not even have a mechanism. I really hope I can get a proper clarification. The opposition team can get a proper clarification about how you're going to implement the regulating the use of drone in your world. As the third contention from the opposition team, the use of drones should not be regulated because it leads to unsustainable economy for our country. As everyone knows, drones are being expensive in general nowadays. If government is regulating the usage of drone, a lot of industry is going to have trouble in buying or even using drones when it comes to even like military, film industry, entertainment, or even in tourism. According to Taylor's University, 75% of income of drone companies goes to the well-being of our very own country. So are you saying that by regulating the use of drones, would you like to like drop your entire economy of your country? Are you trying to contradict your own country? What about the future of your country? Please think about that, my dear government team. Thus, it related back to our first point that it brings repercussions of doing so because it is detrimental to our country in the long term. Before I leave the center stage, Mr. Speaker and members of the House, I would like to reiterate our concrete contention once again. It provides progressiveness within various industries, lessens the gaps between developed countries, and also lead to unsustainable economy for our country. We believe that the use of drones should not be regulated because the repercussions of doing so is detrimental to our country in the long term. With that note, I rest my case. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen and honorable educators, let's hear from the third speaker of the government team, Ms. Tanya. We cannot hear you, Tanya. Just swap places with your friend.
Sorry, but can you give us a moment to fix our microphone?
Yes, I can hear from who's speaking. Yeah, Amira, I can hear from you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. Dear opposition team, this is a disclaimer for you to exercise safety precaution. I recommend that you call upon a team of firefighters to soothe the heat of my rebuttals, which will begin to scorch you shortly. However, before I commence, I would like to wish you a very good day to respected speaker, honorable adjudicators, cautious timekeeper, members of the opposition team, and members of the floor. Today, we are debating on a very hot topic and we will bring forth the issues why the usage of drones should be regulated. I, as the third speaker from the government team, is given duty to rebut all the arguments from the opposition.
we, the government team, agree with this point, agree with this motion simply because we want to prevent the misuse of this technology. Closely watch on how I'm debating, since you, the opposition, to lack of information about this motion. I will explain it further through my rebuttals. Okay. In the early 2000s, the usage of drones has been excessively increasing because of the spark of new technology. All the teenagers were keen to have it. According to research, teens during the 2000s were exposed to this technology and how it makes them typically get addicted to have it. I agree, technology is something applicable and it is important as we are striving to 4.0 industrial revolution. However, it's becoming detrimental as because the extreme usage. The question is why and how the use of drones should be regulated. I will explain it further through my rebuttals. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I would like to rebut the definition. We, the government team, define use as to do something with an object for a particular purpose. Secondly, we define should be, is right or appropriate to do so. And thirdly, we define regulated to control something by using laws or rules. Now moving on, I would like to continue with the rebuttal given by the argument given by the opposition leader. The opposition leader challenges us with the point advancement of technology. Drone is really good tool and we can use it for a betterment. Based on Prime Minister, we are telling you that accepted.
That's not my point. I think you have misunderstood my arguments.
You say, okay, I accept your point, but you say that it's an advancement. By using drone, it's an advancement of technology. Drone is really a good tool and we can use it for betterment. This is what you say. And based on the Prime Minister, we are regulating the use of a usage of drone to give it to somebody is reliable. That means you have to understand that we are regulating, we are not banning. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. We are the government are trying to say to the government of Malaysia to regulate the usage of drones. Apart from that, so you are agreeing, apart from that, based on what the opposition leader said, the drone is a really good tool for us to use in the betterment. And also what I will say is, so you're agreeing that the drones can be used by the military to pick on other countries to see when they attack us. For example, I'm giving you an example. Please see this. The same drone technology is used by Pakistan to pick on India to ignite the Kashmir war. So this shows that apart from advantages of the drones, the person who don't have the license, why we are striving to regulate the law, because the person who don't have the license are using these drones to use it in a detrimental way. Now I would like to rebut the point given by the second opposition, which is provide progressiveness, where they didn't even give us a proper preface. But before that, what I would like to say is that we know the status quo of drones. We are aware about it. We know about it. And that is why we are regulating, because we know the status quo, because based on a lot of examples and a lot of cases reported, even though the cases like a 10-year-old boy who don't know how to use a drone just because he get an accident out of it. So we are trying to regulate it, because at the end of the day, every citizen in Malaysia is important. We don't care whether it's an isolated case or we don't care whether it's in any case. Every single citizens are important in Malaysia. So we are trying to strive to a betterment by controlling the usage of drones. And next I would say is that the second opposition also challenges us with the point, the industries, because you are moving at the same place, the industries. You are telling that agriculture industries, and you are telling that this teaching industries, you are getting industry. Everything is industries. But in that same industries, in the same safety and security industries, in the same agriculture industries, there are many cons of it. Are you sure, based on in our Kedah state itself, many farmers, they don't have the money, the enough income to buy drones. They don't have enough money to have drones. And also that when we talk about industry, military industry can use the drones to strive a better future. But what if they use it in a bad way? We are trying to make the usage of drones to be standard, where when everybody can use it in a good way. So we don't want to be any disadvantage at all. Apart from that, what I would like to say is I would like to rebut the POI given by the third opposition towards our Prime Minister. You asked us that, do drones have license? Okay, what I would like to tell you is that if you want to own a drone, which is a drone under the law, you have to need a license. For example, a walkie-talkie. We have to have a license just because we want to have the walkie-talkie to prevent the misuse. And also, the opposition leader also rebutted. It also gave us a POI given by the opposition leader, where she said that this is an isolated case. Where my second minister give you an example, and you say that it is an isolated case. Ladies and gentlemen, take note about this. I would like to say to the adjudicators, our opposition leader doesn't even care. Doesn't even care about the public. What if it is an isolated cases? What at the end of the day, they are public too. If it is an isolated cases, you don't care about the citizens itself. And we should do these regulations because we, the government, agree with this point, because we, the government, we want to save the citizens from doing these kinds of problems. And we want to say every single, if 100% of citizens, we want to save the 100% of them, not only 85% or 75% of them. And also, we want to make the drones as the standard and the standard usage of the drone. Based on what my Prime Minister said just now, imagine if with drones, you can surveillance a huge area that you can't see. So you can take breathtaking photos of valleys or mountains. But this also means that people who have drones can stalk their neighbors through eye of the drones, which is something becoming so viral nowadays, where in India, so many people, how can you say that? When you're peeping through mobile phones, as well as that you can peep through drones, which is something safety, and this caused many mental pressure for the person itself. And what's said by my Prime Minister is that how we are going to avoid the misuse of drones can be double-edged sword, used for good, then there's no problem, but used for bad can cause dangerous consequences. So ladies and gentlemen, what I would like to say at the end of the day is, rest assured that the panel of debaters of the opposition team are in their minds and thoughts are strongly agreeing to the words that I delivered a few minutes ago. Yet you are reluctant to agree with my words because at the end of the day, this is a competition. I implore the opposition team to follow your thoughts and fight for justice rather than crying over spilt milk. With that, I beg to propose. Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, and honorable educator, this is the third speaker of the opposition team, Ms. Renita.
A very good day, I bid to Madam Speaker, honorable educators, accurate timekeeper, loyal members of the opposition team, worthy opponents of the government team, and last but not least, members of the House. The motion before the House today is that this House believes that the use of drones should be regulated, and we as the opposition team wholeheartedly disagree with the motion because we believe that drones should not be regulated because it has repercussions. The repercussions of doing so is detrimental to our country in the long term. Now, without wasting any time, I would like to rebut what the third speaker of the government team has said. First of all, she started by saying that drones was a huge technology advancement, and in the start of the 2000s and early 2000s, people would get addicted, etc., etc. And then she went on to once again state that we are regulating, not banning. Dear government team, we have not ever said in our own words that you are banning. All we are saying is that we are trying to tell you the meaning of what regulating actually means and what is happening right now in status quo, because it seems like as if the government is so out of touch with what is actually happening in the real world. So let me just clarify on that. I would like to reiterate the fact that regulated means to control something by using laws, and that definition has already been agreed with by the government team. And so what does regulating actually mean? To control something by using laws. Control means using your power or ability to make someone or something to do what you want. And law means the official rule of a country or a state, meaning you have to create a new law in order to be regulating the usage of drones. She also moved on to say that like drones are being used in a detrimental way. For example, drones are being used to ignite other countries, etc., etc. Dear government team, yes, accepted.
Okay, you are contradicting yourself because like you said, regulating is to enforce law to control something. But your lead opposition said that we are not letting the industries to use the drones. So you are contradicting yourself. So we are make the assumption that you don't know that we are.
All right, I understand your POI. Dear government team, we are arguing from the standpoint of saying that we do not want the use of drones to be regulated, meaning that you, the government team, are making laws. And if this motion is passed, this bill is passed, you are supposed to make a law in where you control, where you have the power and ability to make the rest of your nation do exactly what you want when it comes to the use of drones. Meaning it all has to go through you. Meaning, how exactly is this going to work? The third speaker thought that she gave some sort of mechanism to us, but she failed to actually give us a proper, substantial mechanism as to how this is actually going to be implemented. She did not actually say to us how it's going to be implemented in the sense where who is going to be rejected, who is going to be used, how are you going to be able to regulate it in the sense where the film industry will be able to use it. The other industries that my first speaker has spoken about, how are they going to use it? You fail to show us how when this bill is passed and when this bill is passed and on your side, what exactly are you trying to implement? How are you going to implement this? We ask for a mechanism, not some explanation as to why you are regulating and not banning. We ask for a proper mechanism as to how the usage of drones are going to be limited in our country. Yes, accepted.
Okay. What we say just now is your opposition leader said about banning the thing. And apart from that, what we are trying to say is that we as the government, we are not the Malaysian government itself. We can't implement any kind of laws. And also the government in Malaysia, we have the cyber scam law where we can avoid this thing. So it's just that we have to regulate it more, where we have to practice it. We don't need to implement it.
You are taking up my time, please. I understand your POI. All right, first of all, please do not put words into our mouth. We did not ever say that we are banning. All that we said was we went into depth of what the real meaning of regulated means. And clearly the government team is in complete denial of what it actually means. And secondly, like I was saying before, you did not provide us with a mechanism as to how this should be implemented. You did not tell us how it's going to be implemented in the terms of film industry, military section, tourism industry, all the other industries that are using and depending drones every single day as we're speaking right now, and giving you, the government team, income. And to talk about the fact that you said that the government team are not going to make actual laws, this is a parliamentary debate, dear third speaker of the government team. Please be grounded. Please know what we're debating about. Please know what kind of debate you are in. It means that you are the government team, meaning that you can regulate laws, which is why we're talking about an actual law being passed or being denied. Please be in touch with what is actually happening right now within this debate. Moving on to what the second speaker of the government team has said. She said that once again, they just keep harping on the fact we just want to regulate. We don't want to ban. We have never said that you want to ban. We are only asking you, how are you going to regulate? And what the real meaning of regulate is, I'm not going to repeat myself. Regulate means that you need to make a law. You have not even stated what kind of law that is going to be. How is it going to be implemented? You just have been saying all the harms and all the detrimental effects of what drones bring without even actually providing substantial proof, evidence, nothing. And I will be speaking about that later on in my speech. Moving on to what the second speaker has said, she also said that we want to regulate drones so that people will not abuse its use, and like there will be no misconduct, etc., and that the general population will be able to use it more wisely. Once again, within this debate, you, the dear government team, are the ones that are giving people the license right now in current status quo, and do not come up with the point where you are not the government team and you are not going to be giving people license. In this parliamentary debate, you are the government team. We are only the opposition team telling you the advancements of technology and the advancements of drone and the benefit that it actually gives our country and why it should not be regulated. So please clarify yourself. You are the one that are giving the license. You are the one. So are you contradicting your own self and saying that you are irresponsible, that you do not know how to give proper license to the right people? Moving on, he also went on to say that up to 1,500 people reported being stalked by drones. And first of all, I would like to point out that he gave this evidence without even stating a source or who or where they got this data from. And even if this data is legit, you still have not proven to you are still only proving to your own selves that you are irresponsible government and you do not know how to take care of your own country. He also said that it will affect the privacy of people, and he also talked about China creating counterfeit drones, all that stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, I urge the members of the House to see that they are not providing us with any sort of proper mechanism as to what is actually happening up until now. And also when it comes to China creating counterfeit drones, to that I would like to ask you, what is the source of your data? You are only giving us all evidence, all statements, all talk, but no work. What exactly is your substantial proof to everything that you are saying? No proof, no substance. I don't know where your heads are during this debate. Moving on to what the first speaker of the government team has said, they said that they want to ensure the safety of people. She wants to regulate drones to avoid misconduct of using it. And she talked about stalking neighbors, pedophiles can use it to stalk children. Dear government team, until you can prove to us that in current status quo all these things are happening, until you can give us proper evidence as to all these things are actually happening right now, and once again, you are the one that are giving the license to people. So are you saying that you are giving license to people who are pedophiles, who are stalking other people, all these things? You have not clarified about any of these things. You have not even clarified to us what is your evidence and what is your substantial proof when it comes to all this data that you're giving us without any kind of source. Where is your sources? Where is all these things? It's all talk here, honestly, from the dear government team. Now, without any further ado, I would like to move on to summarizations of side opposition contentions, which still stand strong because they have failed to provide us with any sort of mechanism. And I would like to stress on that fact, because how is this going to be implemented if you do not have a mechanism? First of all, we said that it provides progressiveness within various industries, where the film industry, military section, and many other industries depend on drones to be able to. And it contributes to your own economy, dear government team. So please rebut on that. What are you going to do eventually when the use of drones are going to decrease a lot when you regulate the drones? So what is going to happen to your own economy? It's not our side that's going to be affected, it's your side. And we also say that it lessens the gap between our country and other developed countries, because we will be able to develop more in many terms. In many ways, drones are able to help us to be able to become a more developed country, as my second speaker has already elaborated on. And finally, for our third contention, it leads towards an unsustainable economy, something that's only going to be affecting them. With that, I've never been proud to oppose. Thank you.
We have heard the argument from both teams, and now the debaters are given 3 minutes to prepare their reply speech. Now, to wrap up our debate today, here is the reply speech from the opposition team, which will be delivered by Ms. Priya.
Good day, I bid to Madam Speaker and members of the House. I am back again to further convince you on our stand opposing the motion today, which is this House believes that the use of drones should not be regulated because the repercussion of doing so is detrimental to our country in the long term. The opposition team tried very hard to confuse us by giving a bunch of flawed arguments, and also the fact that they don't even understand today's motion and the entire government and their responsibility as a government. The government team started off by saying that there are a lot of benefits of drones. Yes, we are aware of that. And they talk about how in other countries people are being stalked and how people are being stalked and how it is not safety at all. My dear government team, these are literally isolated cases. When we are speaking about isolated cases, these are only happening in a few places. Just because a few number of people are misusing it, are you trying to regulate the entire advancement of technology that is happening right now? Also, the government team also say that accuse us saying that the opposition team said that we want to ban the use of drone, and also we talk about agriculture. Please, my dear government team, stop putting words into our mouth. We did not say that we want to ban the use of drones. And also the ones that talk about the agriculture industry was your first speaker, but not the opposition leader. Please focus more on this debate, as simple as that. And also sadly, the government team is keep on hopping back on the fact that they want to regulate the use of drones. They want to give use license. You are already giving license to people, my dear government team. When you are going to regulate, which means to enforce a new law, you're going to enforce a new law. How are you going to regulate it? That is the question that has been brought forward by the opposition team. They are explaining about what is regulation and like banning that we have never ever spoke before. And they are not exactly seeing the main picture of this debate, but they are supposed to implement it. If this motion is passed, how are you going to implement it? Give license back to those who already have license? How, my dear government team? We are already providing license. The third speaker thought that she was giving a mechanism to us, where she was just explaining the same thing the Prime Minister and opposition Prime Minister was talking has already given before. And it is too obvious that the government team is safeguarding their motion way too much, because the third speaker or any one of them failed to break our contentions or our case line. They did not provide us with some sort of proper substantial proof from a proper source. It was all just numbers and like assumptions. And also, the government team failed to rebut the contention that given by the opposition team, which clearly shows that our point still stands. And also they failed to break our case stand, which is the repercussion of doing so is detrimental to our country in the long term. They only spoke about how it is bad and only those stuff. Now, I would like to move on to three ironclad contention of our opposition team. We said that it provides progressiveness within our industry. This is absolutely true. Beneficial for the entertainment industry and even like film industry and also military. And it seems like the government team does not even trust their own military, whereas the second speaker itself said that they want to give the usage of drones to the people, those who are in proper status, so that they can use wisely. So which stand are you actually taking, my dear government team? And also, they did not break our second and third contention, which is lessens the gap between developed countries. We are talking about in the long term, the future of our country, how we are trying to make it even more better for the upcoming generation. And also, we said that leads to unsustainable economy for our country. After regulating the use of drones, how are you going to make our economy even more better in our future? Before I leave my center stage, I would like to reiterate once again that this House believes that the use of drones should not be regulated because the repercussions of doing so is detrimental to our country in the long term. And also, I also would like to say that it's crystal clear that we are not ones that need a firefighter. And also, we are in our clear mind. And also, we failed to break our case. And one more time, my dear government team, thank you.
And last but not the least, here is the replies page from the government team, which will be given by Ms. Nur Amira.
Assalamualaikum and a very good day everyone as we meet again in the reply speech arena. Here I will show you how weak and irrelevant the point given by the opposition as well as showcasing why we on the government is going to claim victory at the end of this debate. First, we, the government, would like to clarify that we are not banning the use of drones. We only propose to the idea of regulating the use of drones by enforcing the laws, making the purchasing process a lot stricter, and making sure that people who use the drones are someone who is licensed, well-versed, and professional. Because like the saying said, prevention is better than cure. The opposition said that we don't care about the country, we don't care about the economy, when they themselves only talk about industry. Their argument about providing progressiveness in industry is irrelevant to us because we on the opposition just want to regulate the use of drones, not ban it. The impact of the industry will not change because the law is protecting the rights of technologies, the right of drones technologies from being misused. Industries can still use drones for good and bet on the benefit of country. Just like regulating guns, we are only banning it to the public. We don't ban it for the usage of military or security. Regulating the use of drones just means the purchasing of drones is going to be a little more strict. That is all. We are not dropping the economy. We just want to regulate the drones so that we know that it is used for the benefit of our economy and not for creating a menace to society, because we know one bad apple does not include the rest. Because we know that one bad apple does not include the rest, does not determine the rest. That is why through regulations of drones, we are keeping the benefits and removing the misuse of drones for harmful things like terrorism, pranks, and spies. Through regulations, we can create a standard where both industries and community can use this beneficial and advancing technologies. Moving on to our point about safety is strong because we say that we want to protect the rights and safety of these advancing technologies, as well as protecting the safety of the community, because it could be detrimental for public who don't know how to handle drones and might injure themselves due to safety hazard, just like my example that a boy was fractured his skull just because of drones. Next, our point about security is also very strong because it shows that security issue regarding to the technology of drone exists, like using drones to stop people, humiliate people, and pranks. Next, in our third point, authenticity, we also have given the substantial proofs by telling about Kashmir War, and we also given you examples about Kashmir files. So with all our points and proof that we have given, the opposition still have the audacity to say that we have no source. In the end of the day, opposition is saying that we should enforce the law and we are giving the license. I would like to remind the opposition, we are not the government that you are talking about. You are talking about the country government. We are the debating government who merely proposing this argument. So with this reply speech, we on the government strongly agree with this motion simply because we want to prevent the misuse of this technology. That is all from me. Thank you.
Well, that's all for our debate today. We would like to thank the honorable educators and debaters for your presence. The result for the debate competition will be announced shortly, so please sit tight. So the winner for this debate is the opposition team, KBB district, with the best speaker, Miss Priya from the opposition. Okay, well done, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Good debate.
Thank you. Good debate. Thank you, everyone. You may leave the room.